Hello, children. Today we will be looking into the very famous poem by T S Eliot that is titled The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. To tell about this poem is full of complex imagery, and we can see allusions in the poem, and there is, of course, it is written in stream of consciousness style. I'll break I'll break the whole poem into line by line. In simple terms, I'll try to explain the poem for you. In total, there are 131 lines in this poem. So, explaining each line in very simple words will be very long, and this will be a challenging task. But I'll try my best to provide a concise and clear explanation for you of each line of this poem. So I'm starting. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky. Here, the speaker is inviting someone to go for a walk in the evening, that is during evening time. The speaker is inviting someone to go for a walk with him. I don't know whether you might have observed during evening time the sky will be very beautiful. If you haven't observed, start observing from today onwards. During evening time the sky is like it is like a painted thing. It is very beautiful to look into. Try to have a look at the sky during evening time. Next line, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain half deserted streets. So, here the speaker is comparing evening to a patient under anesthesia. What is the peculiarity of a patient who has given anesthesia? That patient will be very numb and still. So, evening time, the stillness of evening time is referring here. They suggest that the walking through the streets that are partially empty. So, next line, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one night cheap hotels. Here, the speaker is describing the sounds of people who are murmuring in cheap hotels where they stay for only one night. Continuing, and sawdust restaurant with oyster shells. Here, the speaker is mentioning the restaurants that is having sawdust on the floor, and on the floor oyster shells, indicating a low class establishment. Continuing the poem, and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. The restaurants with sawdust on the floor and oyster shells on streets that seem to go on like a boring argument. So, with hidden motives that lead you to a big and troubling question. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us go and make our visit. In the room, the woman come and go, talking of Michelangelo. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes. The yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on the window panes, licked its tongue into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was a soft October night, curled once about the house and felt asleep. So, the speaker of the poem is saying, don't ask the question what is going on, let's just go and see what is going on. Stop asking the question what is going on, let's go together and see what is actually going on, what is there. Let's have a look at what is actually happening. Then they enter a room where women are discussing the famous artist Michelangelo. So, when they enter the room, what they are seeing is women group of women are discussing about the famous artist Michelangelo. The term thick yellow fog here is used to create a specific atmosphere and mood. That phrase, the thick yellow fog, is creating in this poem, that phrase is creating a sense of claustrophobia, stagnation, and perhaps even decadence, which contrast with the cultural and artistic discussions happening inside the room. So, when they looked into the room, what they can see is women discussing about the great artist Michelangelo. But outside the room, what they can see is a thick yellow fog that is rubbing against the windows like a cat. Thick yellow fog is licking the corners of the evening that is spreading everywhere. And thick yellow fog is lingering in puddles, that is not moving, just lingering in puddles. And thick yellow fog is getting covered in soot from chimneys. Thick yellow fog is sneaking past the terrace, moving quietly. Thick yellow fog is jumping suddenly. All these things they can see outside the room. So the fog realizes that it's a mild October night. So it wraps around the house once, then fall asleep, settles down. In simple words, what we can see about this whole lines is the speaker is describing a scene where women are talking about art while outside a thick yellow fog is moving and is spreading. Eventually, that is settling down around the house on a calm autumn night. So let's continue reading the poem. And indeed, there will be time for the yellow smoke that slides along the street, rubbing its back upon the window panes. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. There will be time to murder and create, and time for all the works and days of hands that lift and drop a question on your plate. Time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions and for 100 visions and revisions before taking off a toast and tea. So, summarizing these lines, meaning of those lines goes like this: and indeed there will be time, meaning we have plenty of time, so don't worry. Next line, for the yellow smoke that slides along the street, meaning the fog we talked about earlier is moving slowly down the street. Next line, rubbing its back upon the window panes, meaning the fog is touching the windows like a cat rubbing its back. Next line, there will be time, meaning remember we have lots of time. Next line, to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet, meaning we have time to put on a happy face when we see our friends. Next line, there will be time to murder and create, meaning we have time to make mistakes. Murder here means mistakes and make new things. Create. Things means create new things. Next line, and time for all the works and days of hands. We have time to do our daily work and activities. Next line, that lift and drop a question on your plate, meaning we have time to think about questions and answers. Next line, time for you and time for me, meaning we both have time, you and I. Next line, and time yet for 100 indecisions, meaning we have time to change our minds many times. Next line, and for 100 visions and revisions, meaning we have time to imagine and reimagine many things. Next line, before taking of a toast and tea, meaning before we sit down to relax and have a snack. So the poem is saying we have plenty of time to do everything we need to do, make mistakes, create, think, and relax. That's it. So continuing reading. In the room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo, and indeed there will be time to wonder, do I dare and do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair with a bald spot in the middle of my hair. They will say how his hair is growing thin. My morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie rich and modest but asserted by a single pin. They will say, but how his arms and legs are thin. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse. Meaning of these lines will be like this. In the room, the women come and go, meaning ladies are walking in and out of the room. Next line, talking of Michelangelo, meaning they are discussing a famous artist, about a famous artist, and the artist name is Michelangelo. Next line, and indeed there will be time, meaning we have plenty of time, don't worry. Next line, to wonder, do I dare and do I dare, meaning to think, should I try something new and ask myself again. Next line, time to turn back and descend the stair, meaning time to go back downstairs. With a bald spot in the middle of my hair, meaning I'm getting a little bald. They will say how his hair is growing thin. Others will notice my bald spot and comment on it. That is the meaning of that line. Next line, my morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, meaning I'm wearing a fancy coat and a high collar. Next line, my necktie rich and modest, by us but asserted by a simple pin, meaning my tie is fancy but held in place by a simple pin. Next line, they will say, but how his arms and legs are thin, meaning others will notice, but I am a bit skinny. Next line, do I dare, meaning should I try something new? Next line, disturb the universe, meaning should I do something big and important? Next line, in a minute there is time, meaning we have just a minute to decide. Next line, for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse, meaning we can make choices and change our minds in just a minute. That's it. So, the meaning of these lines, which we discussed as a whole, it will go like this. The poem here is saying we have time to think, wonder, and decide, but others might notice our appearance and comment on it. We can try new things, but we can also change our minds quickly. So, continuing the poem, for I have known them all already, known them all. Have known the evenings, mornings, afternoons. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. I know the voices dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. So, should I presume? So, the meaning of these lines go like this. For I have known them all already, known them all, meaning I have already experienced everything, I know it all. Next line, have known the evenings, mornings, afternoons, meaning I have lived through many days, mornings, and evenings. Next line, I have measured out my life with coffee and spoons, meaning I have been doing the same things over and over, like measuring coffee with a spoon. Next line, I know the voices dying with a dying fall, meaning I have heard people's voices that is fading away, like sound getting quieter. Next line, beneath the music from a farther room, meaning I have heard the voices that is fading away beneath the sound of music coming from another room. Next line, so should I presume? Meaning, so why should I think I can do something new or different? So, here the poem is saying that the speaker feels like they have already experienced everything and their life is routine and predictable. So they are wondering why they should try to do something new or exciting, because they feel like they know what is going to happen anyway. Like, I'll give you an example. Think of it like this. Imagine you are doing the same thing every day, like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. You are doing that thing every day. You know exactly what is going to happen the next, and it feels like a routine of yours. That's how the speaker is feeling in this poem. That is, this is routine and this is predictable. So why they should try to do something that is new or exciting? Because they feel like they know what is going to happen anyway. So, continuing, and I have known the eyes already, known them all, the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I'm formulated, sprawling on a pin, when I'm pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin? to spit out all the but ends of my days and ways, and how should I presume? So the meaning of the lines go like this. And I have known the eyes already, known them all, meaning I have already seen all the different ways people look at me. Next line. The eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase, meaning some people look at me and think they know exactly who I am, like a label. Next line. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pin, meaning when I am stuck with a label like bug on a pin. Next line. When I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, meaning when I am stuck and trying to get free. Next line. Then how should I begin? So, how can I start to be myself? Next line. To spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways, meaning to get rid of all the old and boring parts of my life. Next line. And how should I presume? Meaning, and why should I think I can do something new? Here, in these lines, the poem is saying that the speaker feels like they are stuck with labels and expectations from others. They want to break free and be themselves, but it's hard to know where to start. Like, you can think like this. Imagine you are playing a puzzle and someone else keeps telling you where the pieces go. You might feel like you want to put the pieces together you in your own way, but it's hard to start because someone else has already decided what it should look like. That's how the speaker is feeling in this poem. So I'm continuing the poem. And I have known the arms already, known them all. Arms are braceleted and white and bare, but in the lamplight adorned with light brown hair. Is it perfume from a dress that makes me so digress? Arms that lie along a table or wrap about a shawl. And should I then presume? And how should I begin? So, coming to the meaning of these lines, and I have known the arms already, known them all. Meaning, I have already seen all the different arms of people I have met. Next line, arms that are braceleted and white and bare. Some arms are wearing jewelry and are fair skinned, but in the lamplight, donned with light brown hair, meaning, but when light shines, I see they have light brown hair. Next line, is it perfume from a dress? Meaning, is it the smell of perfume from someone's clothes? Next line, that makes me so digress? Meaning, that makes me think about other things? Next line, arms that lie along a table or wrap about a shawl, meaning, some arms are resting on a table or wrapped in the blanket. Next line, and should I then presume? Meaning, and should I think I can do something or say something? Next line, and how should I begin? Meaning, and then how can I start? Here, the poem, in these lines, the speaker is thinking about people they have met and how they look. They are wondering if it's the way someone smells or looks that makes them think about other things. They are trying to figure out how to start a conversation or do something. You can think of it like this. Imagine you are at a party and you see someone you want to talk to. You might notice what they are wearing or how they smell, and that makes you think about what to say to them. That's kind of what is happening here in these lines. Come, I'm continuing reading. Shall I say I have gone at dusk through narrow streets and watched the smoke that rises from the pipes of lonely men in shirt sleeves leaning out of the windows? I should have been a pair of ragged claws scuttling across the floors of silent seas. And the afternoon, the evening sleep so peacefully, smoothed by long fingers, asleep tired or at malingers. Stretched on the floor here beside you and me, should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought in upon a platter, I am no prophet, and here is no great matter. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my cot and snicker, and in short, I was afraid. Now I'll tell you the meaning of these lines. Shall I say I have gone at dusk through narrow streets? Meaning, should I tell you about the time I walked through small streets at sunset? Next line. And watched the smoke that rises from the pipes. Meaning, and saw the smoke coming from the people's homes. Next line. Of lonely men in short sleeves leaning out of windows, meaning I saw men who were alone looking out their windows. Next line. I should have been a pair of ragged clothes, meaning I wish I could be free and wild like a crab. Next line. Scuttling across the floors of silent seas, meaning and move quickly across the ocean floor. Next line. And the afternoon, the evening sleep so peacefully, meaning but instead the day and night are very calm. Next line. Smoothed by long fingers, meaning made calm by gentle hands. Next line. Asleep, tired, or it malingers, meaning the day is sleeping or just resting. Next line. Stretched on the floor here beside you and me, meaning the day is lying next to us, resting. Next line. Should I after tea and cakes and ices, meaning after we have had a nice snack. Next line. Have the strength to force the moment to its crisis, meaning should I try to make something happen. Next line. But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, meaning even though I have cried and gone without food. Next line. Though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought it upon platter, meaning even though I have imagined myself in a difficult situation. Next line. I am no prophet and here is no great matter, meaning I am not special and this isn't a big deal. Next line. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, meaning I have seen my chance to be great come and go. Next line. And I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker, meaning and I have seen death waiting for me laughing. Next line. And in short, I was afraid, meaning and honestly, I was scared. The poem is saying that the speaker wants to do something important, but they are scared and don't think they can. They have seen others who are lonely and want to be free, but they are stuck. They are trying to decide if they should try to make something happen, but they are afraid. So I'm continuing reading the poem, and would it have been worth it after all, after the cups, the marmalade, the tea, among the porcelain, among some talk of you and me? Would it have been worthwhile to have bitten off the matter with a smile, to have squeezed the universe into a ball, to roll it towards some overwhelming question, to say, I'm Lazarus, come from the dead, come back to tell you all, I shall tell you all. If one settling a pillow by her head should say, that is not what I meant at all. That is not it at all. That's the lines. So I'll tell you line by line of this. And would it have been worth it after all? Meaning, was it worth trying to do something big? Next line. After the cups, the marmalade, the tea. Meaning, after we have had a nice snack together, among the porcelain, among some talk of you and me, meaning while we are sitting together talking about each other. Next line. Would it have been worthwhile? Meaning, would it have been worth trying? Next line. To have bitten off the matter with a smile, meaning to have tackled the problem with a happy face. Next line. To have squeezed the universe into a ball, meaning to have taken control of everything. Next line. To roll it towards something, some overwhelming question, meaning to try to answer a really big question. Next line. To say, I'm Lazarus, come from the dead, meaning to say, I'm back from the dead and I have a message. Next line. Come back to tell you all, I shall tell you all, meaning I'm here to tell you everything. Next line. If one settling a pillow by her head, meaning but what if someone like a friend is just getting comfortable? Next line should say, that is not what I meant at all, meaning says that is not what I wanted to talk about. Next line, that is not at all. That is not it at all, meaning that's not the point at all. So the poem is saying that the speaker wonders if it's worth trying to do something big and important, but then realizes that maybe it's not what others want or need. It's like trying to have a deep conversation, but the other person just wants to relax and chat about something else. I'm continuing the poem, and would it have been worth it after all? Would it have been worthwhile after the sunsets and the dooryards and the sprinkled streets, after the novels, after the teacups, after the skirts that trail along the floor, and this and so much more? It is impossible to say just what I mean, but as if a magic lantern threw the nerves and patterns on a screen, would it have been worthwhile if one settling a pillow or throwing off a shawl and turning toward the window should say, "That is not it at all, that is not what I meant at all"? So I'm going to tell you the meaning of line by lines. And would it have been worth it after all? Meaning of this line. Was it worth trying to do something big? Next line. Would it have been worthwhile? Meaning, would it have been worth the effort? Next line, after the sunset and the dooryards and the sprinkled streets, meaning, after all, the beautiful things we have seen. Next line, after the novels, after the teacups, after the skirts that trail along the floor, meaning, after all the things we have done and experienced. Next line, and this and so much more, meaning, and all the other things too. Next line, it is impossible to say just what I mean, meaning I'm having trouble explaining what I want to say. Next line, but as if a magic lantern threw the nerves and patterns on a screen, meaning, but maybe if we could see our thoughts on a screen. Next line, would it have been worthwhile? Meaning, would it have been worth trying? Next line, if one settling a pillow or throwing off a shawl, meaning, if someone is getting comfortable. Next line, and turning toward the window should say, meaning, and looks out the window and says. Next line, that is not at all, meaning, that's not what I wanted. Next line, that is not what I meant at all, meaning that's not what I meant to say. Here, the speaker is wondering if it's worth trying to do something big, but it's hard to explain what they mean. They are thinking about all the things they have experienced and wondering if it's worth it. But then they imagine someone else saying, "No, that's not what I wanted," and makes them question everything. Continuing the poem, no, I'm not Prince Hamlet, nor was meant to be. I'm an attendant lord, one that will do to swell a progress, start a scene or two, advise the prince, no doubt an easy tool, differential, glad to be used, politic, cautious and meticulous, full of high sentence, but a bit obtuse, at times indeed almost ridiculous, almost at times the fool. So, the meaning of the lines, no, I am not Prince Hamlet, nor was meant to be. Meaning, I am not the main hero, that is Prince Hamlet. Next line, I am an attendant lord, one that will do. Meaning, I am just a helper, a sidekick. Next line, to swell a progress, start a scene or two. Meaning, I am here to help make things happen, start some action. Next line, advise the prince, no doubt an easy tool. Meaning, I give advice to the prince and I am easy to use. Next line, deferential, glad to be of use. Meaning, I am polite and happy to help. Next line, politic, cautious and meticulous. Meaning, I am careful and think things through. Next line, full of high sentence but a bit obtuse. Meaning, I sound smart but sometimes I don't understand. Next line, at times indeed almost ridiculous, meaning sometimes I feel a bit silly. Next line, almost at times the fool, meaning sometimes I feel like court jester the fool. The speaker here is not the hero but a helper. They are happy to assist, but they know they are not the most important person. They try to be careful and smart, but sometimes they feel silly and don't understand things. It's like saying, I'm not the star of the show, I'm just a supporting actor. I'm continuing the poem. I grow old, I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to eat a peach? I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me. I have seen them riding seaward on the waves, combing the white hair of the waves' blonde back. When the wind blows the water white and black, we have lingered in the chambers of the sea, by seagulls wreathed and seaweed red and brown, till human voices wake us and we drown. So the meaning goes like this: I grow old, meaning I'm getting older and older. Next line: I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled, meaning I'll wear my pants in an old fashioned way. Next line: shall I part my hair behind, meaning should I comb my hair to the back? Next line: do I dare to eat a peach, meaning am I brave enough to enjoy a sweet treat? Next line: I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach, meaning I'll wear comfy pants and take a walk on the beach. Next line: I have heard that mermaids singing each to each, meaning I have heard mythical mermaids singing to each other. Next line: I do not think that they will sing to me, meaning I don't think they will sing to me though. Next line: I have seen them riding seaward on the waves, meaning I have seen mermaids swimming away. Next line: combing the white hair of the waves' blonde back, meaning they are swimming through the foamy waves. Next line: when the wind blows the water white and black, meaning when the wind makes the ocean look all swirly. Next line: we have lingered in the chambers of the sea, meaning we have spent time underwater. Next line: by seagulls wreathed and seaweed red and brown, meaning with mermaids surrounded by seaweed. Next line: till human voices wake us and we drown, meaning until we hear people talking and we have to leave the underwater world. Here, the speaker is getting older and wants to enjoy life, but feels like they are not part of the magical world of the mermaids. They are observing from afar and they know they can't stay in that world forever. It's like saying, I'm getting older, I want to have fun, but I know I'm not part of something special. So that's the line by line explanation of the full poem. I have read the full poem and I have explained line by line meaning of the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T S Eliot. So we are coming to the end of this video class. I'll summarize the whole poem in a glimpse. So this poem is about a person who is getting older and is feeling a bit left out. Okay, that is the whole poem is about. They are thinking about how they used to be brave and do fun things, but now they are not sure. Imagine you are playing with your friends and you are all running around and having a great time, but then you start to feel a bit tired and you are not as fast as you used to be. That's kind of how the person in the poem is feeling. They're also thinking about these magical creatures called mermaids who are singing and swimming in the ocean. The person wishes they could join in, but they don't think they are allowed. And it is like wanting to play with a new group of friends, but feeling like you are not good enough or that you don't fit in. The person in the poem is feeling a bit sad and left out, but they are also remembering the fun times they had when they were younger. So, this poem is like a big sigh saying, I'm getting older and things are changing, but I'm still remembering the good times. That's the simple summary of the whole poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T S Eliot. So, thank you.